But again, I always go back to like why I did this. There are so many things that I lost from leaving my previous employer, but all of those things that I gained far outweigh what was lost. I kind of grew up in a traditional family where it was go be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, go get the corporate job, and you'll live a healthy, strong financial life. And that was kind of what was instilled in me, was a financial piece of life was kind of your self-worth a little bit. And then found out that I really did not enjoy sitting behind a computer um, all day, every day, doing the same tasks. So I was fortunate enough to find an organization that was actually selling the piece of equipment, which I got into the sales side of things. And I really, really enjoyed the strategy behind sales, the relationships, and the competition that came with sales. It really just kind of hit home with me. And fortunately, I have a supportive wife that asked me a really simple question of, you know, if you look back in 20 years and you haven't made this decision, would you regret it? And it was just a slap in the face of, I absolutely would regret looking back 20 years and I'm still doing what I'm doing because I didn't bet on myself. Yeah, I mean, I'm really taking the same approach that I did when I was doing the sales engineering thing. It's really relationship based. We went from selling a couple single meals to now doing more business packages to make it really simple and proactive for businesses. So that was a big change for us when I was kind of looking at what everything looked like for us moving forward, switching from more of a B2C approach with this organization to a B2B approach. My wife and I are people of faith, and we've always been kind of challenged to find the different ways to serve people with the gifts that we've been given. And we recognize that these were so impactful for us that we wanted to go out and help other people in Kansas City. I don't have a specific business model that I'm following 100%, but it's kind of a conglomerate of a bunch of different ideas that have kind of come together, and we're, changing directions constantly and seeing what sticks. Just because you have a good idea does not mean that people will buy from you. That's probably one of the biggest realizations that I've had, because I've never met anybody that said, this is a terrible idea, I don't know why you would ever want to do something like this. It was, this is fantastic idea, ... And I'm like, well, why aren't you buying from me? I would have really told myself to like truly never miss a party, but go out and do the things that really make you alive. Not follow the footprints of what you'd kind of been told. And I've talked to a lot of people about this, and it's not that being an engineer is a bad thing. I just realized it wasn't the thing that brought me joy in my life. It was the thing that I felt like I needed to do to be successful. And I want to rewrite that story of what successful means. But I truly believe that success comes from you being in that zone, that you have joy, that you're good at what you do. I think it was somebody else told me, it's like, it's always longer than you think it's going to be before you can take that first paycheck. And I'm here to say that so far that is a fact. Make sure that the reason you're doing this is not to go out and create money, because when the money's not coming in, you still have to have the drive to go out and create what you need to create. Focus on those things that are most important to you. And if it will put you in a zone that allows you to be able to focus on those things that are most important to you, then I would maybe recommend quitting. It's if you can handle those three things, or they all align, I say go for it. I want to find the individual that's already walked through the minefield and can tell me where not to step. That's the thing that keeps driving me. That's the importance of mentorship in my life, to be able to pick me up when you have been punched multiple times in a day, and they say, you're doing it, man. Get back up and keep going. Got involved with that. And Randy, you mentioned like I started this basketball thing because I was trying to figure out some creative way to network. It really came because I was calling on a bunch of engineers, and I'd invite one out to have a one-on-one conversation to build that relationship. And some of the engineering firms I was working with had 300, 400 employees with it, and they would invite 5 or 6 of their friends to come and have lunch with us. So then the conversation itself would be monopolized. We really wasn't able to dive deep with each of those individuals to get to know them, learn about their families, but things that they like to do outside of work. And I would still have to swipe the credit card for a $200 lunch and not really get much out of it. So I literally went to a couple of those individuals and said, what will you do outside of lunch that we can get out of this environment where you feel like you have to talk about work or business, and let's just get to know each other. And so a couple of them said that they like playing basketball. And the thing that I love the most, which has really solidified my drive on kind of what I'm doing now, is that each of those relationships started from nothing and were strengthened through this thing that they enjoyed playing together. They had something in common before they even knew each other.